Hi, I hope you all had a good 2025. I spent a lot of mine watching movies, 40 to be exact, that were released in 2025. So as always, I want to take the time to appreciate some of the more interesting and impressive work of this year. Frustratingly, there are still movies I haven't had the chance to see. So if you're mad your favourite movie isn't on the list, just take a look through here. And with any top 10 list, there are of course the unlucky films that just missed out. So let's give them a mention here. My Father's Shadow is the directorial debut from Akinola Davies Jr., partly autobiographical, set in the backdrop of the 1993 Nigerian election. The film was a haunting yet tender, well-directed coming-of-age story. The Mastermind is directed by Kelly Reichardt and is wonderfully unique in its methodical, understated approach to the heist genre. Plus, it has Josh O'Connor. Two Prosecutors, one of the more unique films I saw this year, a Soviet face-off against bureaucracy.
Yeah, how's it going? I'm good, yeah. I was actually just looking for some work. I don't know if you've got any going at the moment. I'm pretty flexible with hours.
Coming in at number 10 is one of my standout watches I had at the Melbourne International Film Festival. Urchin was a directorial debut by this guy.
Or I didn't notice it. We were just having a nice dinner.
You didn't see the bill when it got put on the table?
Yes, Harris Dickinson, an up-and-coming British actor who you might have seen in Triangle of Sadness, Baby Girl, or The Iron Claw. I was blown away, really, that you could be this young and talented at acting and this young and talented at directing. Urchin follows the story of a homeless man, Mike, as he navigates London battling addiction, poverty, and self-destruction. Mike is excellently played by Frank Delane, or more notably this guy.
Of course, sir.
And it is his performance that is the backbone of the film, and part of the reason the movie can so effectively depict a character that is struggling, a character that is frustrating, self-sabotaging, and lost in the seemingly endless cycle of addiction. The film nevertheless is able to strike an empathetic chord with us all, partly due to the film's non-judgmental outlook, but also as we go through the film we start to understand that sometimes cruel, unforgiving society and the world surrounding Mike. Dickinson with the camera mostly chooses to shoot scenes from a distance, achieving an observational quality of the situations Mike finds himself in, and grounding you in his reality. He's a smaller part of a larger society. At times, Dickinson breaks away from the gritty social realism of the film and dips into moments of surrealism. These sequences feel like journeys through Mike's own subconscious and soul, giving us brief, haunting glimpses into his inner world and leaving us with many questions, and allowing the film to be dynamic and intriguing throughout. You might have heard massive praise for this movie about how realistic it is, and there are reasons for that. The film depicts a US Navy SEAL mission in 2006 in Iraq that happened and went wrong. Warfare is directed by Alex Garland and Ray Mendoza. Ray Mendoza being one of the US Navy SEALs that actually experienced the mission. Garland has said in an interview that they approached the film with a strict rule, that they were only allowed to recreate the memories of the people involved in this thing as accurately as possible. The film, according to Garland, is a reconstruction of memory. Every moment and detail is said to be verified by the memories of the people who were actually there. Yeah, I wasn't there, but it feels pretty realistic. In fact, Ray Mendoza selected the main cast and trained them as a group, so they come across so much like an actual unit. Warfare for me felt like technical mastery on pretty much every level. It's able to balance expressionistic reconstruction of memory with hyper-realistic filmmaking. Everything is concerned by getting you immersed in the situation as it actually happened, and it works so well. I don't think I'll be able to explain how good the sound design is, some of the best in a movie I've ever seen. It's just phenomenal. And the words raw, grueling, horrifying, visceral doesn't really begin to describe the feeling and experience you get while watching it. And interestingly, the film was in actual time. The film was 90 minutes, but actually feels longer because you go through so much. And I should mention some of the criticism the film has got. The film has no depth, no point, no message, which I think is a bit harsh, but is kind of true. Warfare is different to other war movies. You're not really given any context. The mission has no real explicit purpose. And I think deliberately. War is pointless. War is hell. There is deliberately no music. There is no Hollywood dramatization. There is no real heroes or roaring victory. It's just people going through hell. It's a visceral, raw, unflinching experience. And for myself, I didn't feel like the film was glorifying anything. And while a film about the Iraqi civilians that ultimately went through so much would be very important, I don't think that should invalidate this film and this experience that the film presents.
I don't get it. What is it you think I don't get? What is it you're so sure I can't help you with?
I'm one of those people that's not supposed to be a mom. I'm not a mom. I'm not.
This is the second of my myth watches on the list, and a lot of people describe the film as uncut gems for mothers, and they are not wrong. Although I'd go as far to say the movie is actually more anxiety inducing. The framing and the sound design do a lot of work to get to that point. The film trusts its audience with its close claustrophobic framing and its jarring soundscape. The film is exhausting and absolutely puts you in the main character Linda's state of mind, as she juggles her child's illness, her husband's calls, her house's roof even falling apart. And I'm not going to claim to know too much about motherhood, but I think it does do some work in subverting the mother as saint stereotype. The film is allowed to live with its main character's vulnerability and addresses the guilt and shame in such a delicate way that I don't think I've seen in a movie before. And the reason why this works so well is Rose Byrne. She's able to portray that depth and the weight that Linda carries and make you believe her struggle. And actually, Conan O'Brien delivers one of the more surprising supporting performances of 2025 as just the most annoying, unhelpful therapist of all time, ultimately subverting type in a superb casting decision. That's just one of the many decisions that director Mary Bronstein takes. Another brilliant one is not to show the faces of Linda's child or her husband, directly focusing our attention on Linda and her struggle and not being able to escape everything surrounding her. If I Had Legs I'd Kick You is an important film and an expertly made one at that.
I've had a lot of fun with this one. Okay. I've had a lot of fun, right?
Service switches to Kletzner.
This is the freshest of the movies on the list. I actually watched this a couple of days ago, but feel comfortable enough to put it on the list. Marty Supreme follows Marty Mauser and his chase to become the greatest table tennis player there is. Marty Supreme is about ambition, it's about chaos, it's about the pursuit of so-called greatness. Very much like Josh Safdie's previous film with his brother, the film has that tight camera work, chaotic nature, and lightning quick pacing, and tension at every point. It was committed and unhinged and unpredictable. It does have to be said, however, Marty Supreme takes its place among the genre of Wolf of Wall Street, Whiplash, and Fight Club, with movies that are misunderstood and that can inspire people the wrong way. For me, Marty Supreme didn't touch the perfection that is Whiplash as a cautionary tale of unchecked ambition. Nevertheless, the film does do enough to commend Marty for his ambition and dream, but ultimately deliver enough consequences for Marty for manipulating the people around him and dodging responsibilities, therefore adding depth and conversation to the story, asking valuable questions such as, did we watch good people and have they changed? Chalamet was very, very good and kind of puts the film on his back and joins the very little group nowadays that have enough charisma and star power that are able to do so. Chalamet very much has the gravity, presence, and the depth to be able to bring you along for the ride Marty ends up going on without losing you at any point. All that said, Tyler the Creator and Mr. Wonderful were actually great additions and showcase that they can very much act. Marty Supreme was able to do a lot, really. It's anxiety inducing but emotional, and gives you enough depth to leave you thinking about it. I also want to say that I love needle drops, and this film has two that hit so well.
Your choices, Clark. Your actions. That's what makes you who you are.
Now, going into this film, it's probably important to note that I was not the biggest fan of Zack Snyder's Superman, and that definitely influenced my experience, because it kind of felt like the exact opposite movie and a direct response to Zack Snyder's Superman. Much like the Batman of a couple years ago, it was exactly the kind of film that I wanted. The movie has flaws, and I'm not going to pretend that it doesn't. It's kinda all over the place structurally and has a few too many characters. And if you don't like superhero movies, I'm not sure this is the one to get you over that hump. But if you deliver a quintessential Superman movie, in my mind, then I'm going to love it. The film was filled with a lot of heart and a lot of hope, and it's pretty much a cheat code to use that score, because it's going to get me every time. James Gunn is really the only guy that is making superhero movies that feel like they're made by real people with real care. And you can see that through the emotion of the story, but the detail in the practical effects and the character.
Bird.
Now, stay off the comp.
Gunn has an unbelievable ability to make films that strike a balance between not taking themselves too seriously, but not becoming too silly. Grounded stories surrounded by classic over-the-top Gunnisms, and entering the story where the film did, I think avoided many of the repetitive story beats that were told a million times before, and it felt as though we entered an already established alive and breathing world. And David Corenswet for me as Superman is perfect casting and absolutely felt like the character, and Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor was incredible, some of the greatest hating I've ever seen. Clark and Lois's relationship felt real and genuine. And all of this to say, the whole movie really felt like a breath of fresh air, considering some of these movies that we have got in the past. It felt hopeful, kind, and compassionate, and sincere.
Filmen handlar om en ung kvinna, en ung mor som... Jag vill att du ska spela huvudrollen.
Directed by Joachim Trier, Sentimental Value, a Norwegian family drama, follows two sisters and their estranged father's new film as they attempt to navigate their own lives and relationships to each other. I found myself throughout thinking so much of Bergman's work, particularly a film like Autumn Sonata that I actually watched recently. Straight away, I want to say that I would give the three main performances of this movie an Oscar. Stellan Skarsgård, Renata Reinsva, and perhaps the most underrated performance of 2025, Inger Ibsdotter Lilios. The performances are really what hold the film together, and very quickly you stop seeing actors at all and are completely absolved in this raw, real, human story. There's just incredible detail really in every aspect of the film, the architecture, the acting, and the tone. The film's slow and delicate pace allows you to examine each character's soul. If you want to talk about subtle acting, I don't think there's many other better examples. Every scene there's an underlying emotion, sadness, guilt, desperation, that the characters don't know how to express with words, which is in touch with the film's plot as well. In the movie, Stellan Skarsgård's character, Gustav Borg, is making his own biographical film, seemingly about his mother. And this lends the film to an exploration of the meta and self-referential, which just adds another layer in which to dissect the story. And these films invite you to reflect not only on the story being told, but on your own experience of watching a movie or engaging with art more broadly, and what that ultimately means, are able to reveal special things about yourself and the characters on screen, and for me, make it the most rewarding kind of cinema to watch.
Where's my hair?
Your hair has been destroyed.
You shaved off my hair?
Yes, we've shaved off your hair.
Why have you shaved off my hair?
To prevent you from contacting your ship.
My ship?
Your ship.
What ship?
Your mothership?
Now, if you watched my top 10 films of last year, you know I'm a pretty big Yorgos Lanthimos guy, so it's probably not a surprise to see one of his films feature in this top 10 list. Bugonia follows two conspiracy-obsessed young men that kidnap a rich CEO, believing she is part of an alien force trying to destroy the Earth. When I heard the pitch for this movie, I could not have been more excited. Based on a 2003 South Korean film Save the Green Planet. The idea for this movie felt like the perfect stage for Yorgos Lanthimos to play in, and the film pretty much delivered in a lot of ways. The cinematography is harsh and uncomfortable, a mixture of empowering wides and weird and cramped close-ups. The score by Urchin is surprisingly dramatic and epic for the confided story that it is. The film takes some wild swings, but at every point it feels like it is committed to what it is trying to do. The film pulls no punches. Just when you think they probably won't do that, they actually probably will. The film ultimately works with this relationship between its two characters. The film is tightly focused on two characters, but presented with the utmost importance and spectacle. The film's concept, almost humorously and absurdly, reveals so much of the sharp class warfare that is getting more and more prevalent. Doing it in this absurd, out-of-pocket way perhaps narrowly avoids so many of the tired and exhausting ideas and conversation that are thrown around every day in the media. Teddy, one of the conspiracy-obsessed brothers, unlike some of Yorgos's characters, we actually invited to explore just how he turned out the way he did, what poisoned his brain, and crucially, do we forgive him? There's clearly a tragic backstory, and a reason he does the things that he does, making him such an intriguing character. Ultimately, adding some conversations surrounding how and why a conspiracy theorist goes down a certain path. It's worth mentioning Emma Stone as well, who pretty much goes bar for bar with Jesse Plemons throughout the whole thing. Just some good acting throughout. In the Yorgos filmography, it has somewhat of the cynical, bleak, unhinged nature of A Killing of a Sacred Deer, but also somewhat of the introspective sensibilities of perhaps a Poor Things or a Lobster.
Do you catch rabbits? Catching a rabbit is difficult.
Thank you very much.
If you need more rabbits, I'll bring you more.
Do you promise?
But as with any Yorgos film, it'll leave you saying, what the hell, and with so many questions. Is this just a warning, or are we too far gone?
Memento amoris. Remember, you must love.
There wasn't really a film this year that got so much of an emotional reaction out of me than 28 Years Later, and it came from that scene that I just showed you. Peak writing, acting, and directing coming together to describe the inevitability of love and death. And the crazy thing about it, I was so unprepared for this going in. 28 Years Later is the third film in the 28 Zombie franchise. I'm a pretty big fan of the original 28 Days Later, less so the second one 28 Weeks Later, notably not directed by Danny Boyle or written by Alex Garland, the only one in the now 4-film series. Which leads me to say I don't think there is a series that more starkly shows the importance of a director and a writer. Danny Boyle is a great director. 28 Years Later is filled to the brim with this maximalist, unpredictable camera work and this deep, saturated look that I think complements everything really well and feels unique and different. And I love the way the script shifts from a hardened, gruff and tough zombie survival movie to a deep exploration and critique of social roles and masculinity, and a political critique of legacy, history, militarization, isolation, looking back and not moving forward as a society. The film also explores humanity, independence, and learning to live with love and death and empathy in such a sincere, honest way. And this is brought to fruition by exceptional performances from Ralph Fiennes, Jodie Comer, and Alfie Williams, who puts on an amazing performance and one of the best kid performances I have seen. The world building is also exceptional, and that comes from the practical set design, the wide shots, the showcase of a part of Britain 28 years later. But you also understand this world, the locations, the settings, and where they are in relation to each other. After I watched it, I was surprised really at the mixed reception it got. I think a lot of people that didn't like it expected and wanted a different movie, which is fine. But for me, yeah, it's a bit different and takes on new ideas, but I think sequels should really do that. They should take risks, should take chances, and have new takes on things. The more and more I think about this one, I really do love it. I thought it was inventive, thrilling, and emotional.
Don't panic. Don't fucking panic, Bob. Keep your shit together.
Don't get fucking paranoid, man.
How do we understand the crazy world we live in today? That is the essential question that one battle after another, and in fact many films coming out today, seek to answer. But perhaps director Paul Thomas Anderson does it in the most rewarding way. It follows Bob Ferguson, an ex-revolutionary, as he chases to find his missing daughter. If you think about it, One Battle After Another is a pretty crazy film to exist. I mean, it's an American auteur-directed $150 million revolutionary political thriller. One Battle actually wasn't at number 2 on this list when I first came out of the cinema, but over time it grew on me. On the surface, it's a film about American politics, revolution, immigration, and fascism. And it is in a lot of ways, but at its core, it's a father-daughter movie. And unlike Bugonia or Eddington, suggesting we might be too far gone.
Same auditor that drove away your
undersheriff died of a fentanyl overdose.
From handling fentanyl.
And your captain and your chief deputy took jobs in Rio Rancho.
That was devastating.
You can't keep your own office going, but you're going to run mine.
One Battle suggests that love and trust might just be enough to get us through.
Say it. Say it, baby.
Love you, Bob.
Love you too.
There's a propulsive energy and pace that runs throughout the film, non-stop pacing paired with an unbelievable musical score by Johnny Greenwood, makes the film feel like no scene runs too long or too short. And I think honestly this might be Leonardo's best performance. He nails the comedic elements and the desperation, the heart, the hope. I was so surprised by how funny it was, really. And Tiana Taylor's performance as Perfidia is really the backbone of the film, because even when she's not present, she echoes around in every scene. And Sean Penn has rightly been praised for his performance. It's very hard to strike a balance between goofy and silly, but threatening and intimidating, and he somehow pulls it off. The physicality in his character is also something to behold, the walk and the looks in his eyes. I could name several other supporting performances: Benicio del Toro, Chase Infinity, Regina Hall, which is often a sign you're watching an instant classic. Well, here we are at number 1. And what else, right? Released earlier in the year, about March, it was intriguing, at least for myself, whether it will still have a lasting impact on end of the year awards and top 10 lists. Sinners is a bit of a miracle of a film really in this day and age. It's rare that we get an original studio blockbuster that can deliver on as many levels as this does. Sinners first manages to be an exceptional vampire movie, cleverly interweaving scares, lore, and threatening atmosphere. Sinners then manages to pair this with just a beautiful exploration and implementation of music, more specifically blues, and what that can mean.
Something I've been wanting to tell you for a long time. It might hurt you. Hope you don't lose your mind.
And when music is one of your key themes, you better have a good soundtrack, and Ludwig Göransson is that guy. Vampirism and music is then paired with the movie's setting and detailed production design, which guides the film's exploration on cultural identity and place. With all these ideas, it would be easy to feel bloated with exposition or stuffy dialogue, but Sinners maintains a pace and energy towards the end, and keeps one-upping itself till you're left with your jaw on the floor. Perhaps the film's most clever decision is making its evil vampire also come from a place of oppression, making him also a character to understand, and the allure of vampirism have so much more depth. Also shout out to Wunmi Asako, who I guess is the most underrated performance out of the movie. She commands a certain respect and regard in her character that is magnetic. Also the post-credits scene, which I think we can agree can be really hit or miss, but it felt really cool in this instance, mainly because for me it was so unexpected, and it left the movie on such a cool note and added a lot of scale to the story presented. So there we are, my top 10 films of the year. What did you think of the list? I'd love to hear your favourite films of the year in the comments down below. And now on to 2026. I'm quietly very excited for the year coming up, specifically movies such as Project Hail Mary, Robert Eggers' Werewolf, Steven Spielberg's Disclosure Day, and of course, The Odyssey. But that's it from 2025, and hopefully I got some more videos coming out soon.